Federal Minister of Agriculture Klöckner showed her European colleagues her homeland some time ago, viticulture in Rhineland-Palatinate. But the trip to the steep slopes, including a boat trip on the Moselle, was accompanied by protests and actions by numerous organizations. At the informal EU Agricultural Council, the ministers visited the steep vineyards on the Moselle. Klöckner presented the steep slope viticulture to the EU agriculture ministers in Winningen 2 weeks ago. Modern technology was shown, such as harvesters for steep slopes, various drones and a viticulture robot from the Gelsenheim University. In the afternoon of that meeting, a Moselle boat trip from Winningen to Koblenz was on the program. Well, there should have been enough opportunity for the European agriculture ministers to discuss the crux of the next reform of the Common Agricultural Policy, the CAP or CAP, among themselves in informal talks. Perhaps a glass or two of Riesling might have helped to overcome national hurdles and find a compromise. Ultimately, Klöckner's goal was to be able to present a common position among EU agriculture ministers in October on the CAP reforms that has been discussed for 2 years. A series of rallies ensured that the ministers did not forget the harsh reality on the farms around the Moselle and the Weiden idyll, as we say this. Followers from the countryside want to join the boat excursion on both banks of the Moselle with their tractors, and yeah, they did. A day before, there were already many farmers but also Agrarwende supporters in the city. They followed demonstration calls from LSV, ABL, BDM and We Are Sick of It. The United European Farmers Movement, which is supported by the Federal Association of German Dairy Farmers, is regularly holding rallies and was also holding a rally there at the conference venue in Koblenz. It called for external protection to ensure the high standards for European agriculture, also for imported goods. Within the European Union, costs that arise from unequal national requirements and standards are to be reimbursed to the farmers concerned. The president of the German Farmers Association, Joachim Ruckwied, called on the ministers to take greater account of the economic needs of the farms in the upcoming decisions. Experience with the corona crisis showed how important it is to be able to produce food independently, competitively and with high quality from the hands of European farmers. This has been completely neglected in the Green Deal and in the Farm to Work strategy, criticized Ruckwied. He also emphasized that for fair competition in the EU internal market, the legal requirements and standards of agricultural protection would have to be standardized more closely. National solo efforts must be avoided. The agricultural policy spokesman for the CDU-CSU parliamentary group, Albrecht Stegemann, made a similar statement. In the internal market, it is imperative to jointly adapt and develop the common rules and standards. Different speeds lead to distortions of competition, to relocation of production and would not help agriculture, animal welfare or the environment, Stegemann stated. The next day, the more serious part of the Council of Ministers began, although no formal decisions were expected from an informal council meeting. The heads of departments held a short conference session in the Rhein-Mosel-Halle. The ministers were to provide answers to 4 questions that the incumbent German presidency raised in a discussion paper. What has to change so that the food supply becomes more stable in times of crisis? How can a better EU-wide labeling of origin of food look like? What does an EU-wide animal welfare label have to do? What has to be done so that animal transports are carried out in accordance with animal welfare? However, the day began with political statements by Klöckner, EPP MEP Norbert Linz, top representatives of the EU committees of farmers' associations and cooperatives, and European young farmers. Further protests have been announced. Among other things, traffic was supposed to come to a standstill due to around 500 tractors. The conference ended with a joint press conference by Klöckner and EU Agriculture Commissioner Janusz Wojciechowski at around 1 p.m. After that, the cozy city at the confluence of the Rhine and Moselle rivers quickly disappeared from the big agricultural political stage again. And just a small information, YouTube just activated membership on my channel, so in the future if you want some exclusive content, have a look. There is a join button next to the subscribe button. And if you now want to know more about European politics, YouTube has chosen another of my videos right here for you on the end screen, right next to your chance to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in my next video. Click and enjoy. Viel Spaß!